BSR is obviously at the forefront of climate scenario planning, in a 1 to 1.5 degree world to a 2 degree world. What other scenario planning are you doing now from a sustainability perspective that you weren't doing, before 100 days ago, give or take?
Yeah, well, the fragmentation of policy is one solid example of that, I think. Another thing, you talked about climate scenarios, and we have done a lot of these under the TCFD Task Force for Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, expect scenario planning. Now there's an overlay of uncertainty about the direction of travel. So if you see the scenarios, ought not to get too, to geek out on it, but you often use two axes. So if you have one axis that is about the severity of climate change and its impact on business, and I think we can assume that the world will be moving steadily in that direction. And then the other axis could be the degree of global cooperation, because right now the level of global cooperation related to climate is in a fairly parlous state, that the notion that the cops are going to make everything clear for everybody, give a single signal to companies about the direction of travel, not only on national and regional policy, but global cooperation, that's not likely. And I think there are people debating whether the cop model still resonates or not. So how do you make decisions as a company with new uncertainties about the direction of travel in terms of a global consensus on things? So that's one example. I think while we haven't done this one, I think looking at diversity and inclusion at a time when there's political backlash against it is another one, because, and this is going to be different for Asia Pacific than it is in the US and Europe, but in the US and Europe, society is growing more diverse by the day. That's a demographic fact. No amount of political grandstanding can change it. So how does a company think about diversity and inclusion, and how does a company think about it again amidst the fragmentation of approaches, between regions, but frankly also within regions, because this looks very, very different in the United States, depending on what part of the United States that you're in. So all of this also, I think, so these are things that affect companies broadly. One point I did want to make is this: whether it's tariffs, whether it's AI, any of the factors that are reshaping the context, they play out very differently in specific locations and very differently across different industry sectors.